Welcome, everybody, to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. Hey, everyone, John here. Welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. If you want to do me a favor, please click that subscribe button. That is to make sure that this gets out to as many people as we possibly can, because that's our mission here, is to help others get to where they're going. Tonight, I want to be very open and honest with you about a topic that I feel leaders need to have. And tonight we're going to talk about holding ourselves to a higher standard. When we embarked on this leadership journey, and I say we, that began the path to set us apart from the people who come to work or want to do the minimum. And I don't say that in a bad way. I say that because those that are listening to this podcast, just you taking the time away from all the other things that you could possibly do, make you all very unique individuals. And as we begin that leadership journey, we begin to set ourselves apart. And that entails putting ourselves at a higher standard. There are things that leaders should do, and I'm not saying this is across the board, because I know that there's some people out there that are put into managerial or supervisory positions that aren't necessarily leaders. And just because you don't carry the title of a supervisor, a manager, a team lead, doesn't mean that you're not a leader. I think one of the things that defines folks as leaders is setting themselves apart from just the day-to-day actions that we could just do if we want to show up, clock in, get the job done, clock out, and go home. When you become a leader, you begin to be responsible for the welfare of others. And if you have ever had to take care of another human being, you know what that is. You know what it's like to almost put their concern, their well-being, their feed and caring above your very own. And that's what leadership is. Leadership is that point where the good of many outweighs the good of us. There's a couple things that I specifically want to talk about when it comes to holding yourself to a different standard. And I got a question for you. Are you that person, whenever you go grocery shopping and you got your cart and you're bebopping out to the car, it's full of groceries, you get to the car, you load the groceries in the car, and then you immediately just kind of roll that shopping cart over and you put it into an empty parking space, or you put it into, set it aside one of the parking blocks in the parking lot, and then get in your car and leave? Or I got another question. Are you one of those people that can walk by a piece of trash in your workplace or wherever you call yourself home? We spend more time in our workplaces than we do a lot of times in our home environments, and you completely ignore it. Or the opposite to that would be you get done loading your groceries with the shopping cart, and then you either take it back to the designated cart, or you even take it all the way back up to the front of the store and put it there for somebody else. And then the same thing applies to the piece of trash. Instead of walking past that piece of trash, you pick up that piece of trash. Just those little things. And I know that's a very abstract example. And I'm not saying if you do that, you're not a leader. But those types of things set leaders apart from others. When you go above and beyond, when you do those little things that add up to bigger things. And people see that. You've heard me say that people will do as you do, not as you say. We're human beings. We're creatures of habit. From a very young age, we begin to model behavior. And as leaders, if we don't model the behavior that we expect, what are we doing? If we're just talking about it in meetings, posting inspirational quotes on Facebook or TikTok or Twitter, and we're not leading by example, how is anybody going to follow us? Or even how are we going to expect others to follow us? Now, I don't want to seem like I'm coming off, leaders are put on a pedestal, because I don't think leaders need to be put on a pedestal to set themselves apart. Leaders need to be down, my personal opinion, leaders need to be down in the weeds, doing the things that the other, team members that your team are doing. That way they see that you're willing and able to do the things that are necessary to get the job done. Leading by action is one of the I think the strongest ways that leaders can gain respect, trust, and start to build that relationship with their employees. When you become a leader, it's no longer just good enough to show up. You have to consistently show up. You have to consistently be there, even when it's time to go home. You have to consistently make time for others so that way they know that they're appreciated. And I'm not talking about huge chunks of time where you're spending 30 minutes and it's taking away from your family and it's taking away from the things that you need to do. But realize that even those 5-minute conversations, those extra little things that you are doing, start to build and build and build the influence that you all have as leaders. So, one thing that I want to leave you all with, next time you're out and about and you see that piece of trash or you see that cart or you see somebody struggling to load a heavy case of water, or even as simple as opening the door or saying hello to the person that's helping you with your groceries or helping you do whatever you're out there doing. That's how we build influence. That's how we start programming the behaviors to begin to set ourselves to a higher standard, to begin to set ourselves apart. There is a minute difference between good leaders and great leaders. I'm going to say that again. There is a very small difference between good leaders and great leaders. A lot of that difference comes with consistency. The more consistent we are as leaders with the behaviors, our actions, the things that we do, will begin to allow others to see that we're in it for the long haul. We're not going to leave them behind. We're there for them. Words is us and we and our. When that begins to get programmed into your vocabulary, into your everyday talk, those are the things that begin to set yourself at a higher standard. So think about how you act on a day-to-day basis, the way that you're showing up, right? Are you just showing up, or are you showing up consistently, and are you acting in a consistent manner? Are you thinking in a consistent manner? Are you behaving in a consistent manner? To make sure that you're holding yourself consistently to a higher standard. Start small. I'm not asking for big monumental changes because that is not sustainable. So start just with one thing. Again, goes back to the 360-degree feedback. Look at yourself, take an assessment. There's a lot of different assessments online that you can take that allow you to gain a better perspective of your blind spots and your gaps. And pick one and just take a week and work on that one thing. And I promise you, you'll begin to hear, you'll begin to see others around you. As you change, they're going to notice. I promise you, they're going to notice. So one thing at a time, begin to hold yourself to a higher standard. I promise you others are going to notice, and it's going to make a big difference in the organizations that you all are leading. I hope this helps somebody this evening. Go be great. We'll talk to everyone later. Bye-bye. If you enjoy what you're hearing, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps us get others to where they're going.